Have you ever spun?
Hello everyone. Thanks for joining Enhanced Cost Optimization Efforts webinar hosted by Redis today. Most of you who have joined us here have already familiar with Redis as a caching database that offers powerful features such as guaranteed sub-millisecond latency, linear scaling without performance degradation, and can be hosted online. But when you compare Redis with other Redis providers, you may have been surprised at the cost difference. We are asked about this issue regularly. The short answer is that both Redis and other providers permit you to use Redis as a cache. And that's a good thing. You get performance gains with sub-millisecond queries. The problem is when you use another Redis provider, they don't optimize Redis to minimize your cost. Today, we have our Redis experts here to discuss how business can reduce spending and improve productivity through technology. Before introducing our key speakers for the session, I will quickly walk you through the housekeeping notes. The audience here by default are on mute. If you have any questions or wish to speak to us, please raise your hands by clicking the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. You can also drop your questions in the Q&A session or write to us on the chat. We love to keep the session interactive. Now, coming to our featured speakers for this session. Prasanna Rajgopal is Industry Solution Architect joining us from the States, who has spent over 22 years in software industry, in engineering and customer-facing roles at companies such as Oracle and Dell. He has spent his last decade working with customers in pre-sales role, helping them architect solutions for various business challenges, and has been with Redis for more than a year. Thank you, Prasanna. We also have Rahul Chauhan, to give a certified enterprise architect who has 7 years of experience in software industry and is closely working with some of our top customers in APAC. He has written 2 research papers on database and has achieved more than 10 certifications. He is our in-house cloud certified architect on 3 major clouds, GCP, Azure, and AWS. Thank you, Rahul, for joining us today. I will hand it over to Prasanna to give us a brief overview for folks who want us to know more about how Redis is the primary database. So over to you, Prasanna.
Rakila, thank you for that kind introduction and welcome to the audience. Thank you for taking the time from your busy schedule to be with us today. We have come prepared to discuss one of the most important topics for any company: how to reduce cost and improve profitability. Technology is a core driver for not only reducing cost, not only driving automation, but technology is a core driver to increase revenue growth and profitability. To understand how Redis can help reduce cost, we need to get a baseline knowledge of our product. So we will start with an overview of Redis. We'll also share how Redis can align with your cost reduction goals. Finally, the most exciting part of our presentation. Rahul and I will share customer stories about how some companies overcame massive odds, reinvented their business, and found business success. We will speak about the role that Redis played in that success. More importantly, we want to hear from you. We want to hear about your business goals and the use cases that you are working on. So please let us know your thoughts and questions. We are here to listen and help. The world is in the midst of rapid changes. Every industry is undergoing massive innovation and change. The world is also facing immense challenges in the form of inflation, geopolitical tension and conflict, extreme weather events, and supply chain disruptions. Many of these challenges are not going to fade away anytime soon. Nicholas, as he says in this article, is correct. Turbulent times are here to stay. There are 2 ways in which we can react in face of these challenges. It is a binary choice that we humans face. The path we choose will determine our fate. The first way is to take no action. We can complain about the state of the world and take no action. Or the second way is to take the world as it is presented to us and take action. The steps we take today will determine how successful we use technology to increase our company's productivity, efficiency, and competitiveness. In the process of changing the company, we might change our own lives. To reduce cost and increase productivity, efficiency, and competitiveness, world-leading companies choose technologies that satisfy three key critical requirements. The first requirement is that it has to be an open source technology. If a technology is available as open source, they want to consider that first. Companies want to try open source to see if it meets their needs before switching to the enterprise version of the software. Open source software reduces the cost of trying things to ensure it meets your needs. Second, companies want to invest the time, money, and people in implementing best-in-class technologies. Implementing products that are not the best in class waste time and money. When they implement technology in production, they want to standardize on just one ideally suited technology, which is best in class. For example, they do not want to use 3 or 4 different databases, which increases the cost of maintaining their technology stack. Finally, companies want to have an efficient technology stack. Efficient is a very broad term. So what does it mean in the context of digitization? Efficient means technology has to meet the speed and scale of modern applications. You can serve more customers at a lower cost when you have speed and scale. Efficient means failover is easy and fast. Efficient means maintenance costs are low. In many ways, Redis is the perfect data platform for this era. It is built on open source, is the best in class technology, and it is easy to use, deploy, and maintain. The open source version of Redis is the most downloaded database in the world. By any measure, Redis is a popular database. Redis has a very engaged community of developers. The product is straightforward to use. It took me just 2 hours to write a simple app using Redis as the database. And I used the Python API to work with Redis database. As I mentioned earlier, Redis has its roots in open source. The open source version offers simple data structures such as strings and sets that you can use to build a super fast application. Redis Enterprise expands on Redis open source, and it offers a multi-model support with many features that enterprises need to run their applications in production. Redis Enterprise is built on top of Redis open source database and has all the features of Redis open source, plus it offers features that companies need to deploy Redis in production, such as clustering, linear scalability, and 5.9 availability. For example, customers can deploy Redis Enterprise in an active data resiliency architecture. Yes, Redis Enterprise offers the reliability and high availability features that companies need. The feature that gets me most excited is the multi-model database support. You can create search indexes on your data using Redis search module, or have a super fast search function in your application using Redis search. If your application needs to store JSON documents, we offer Redis JSON as a module in the Redis Enterprise version. In short, you can cover all your application requirements using Redis Enterprise. You don't have to use multiple databases and deal with all the complexity that comes with that. Redis Enterprise is available on all 3 popular clouds. Redis Enterprise is a first-party native Azure service. Now you can access all the Redis Enterprise features and modules such as Redis JSON and Redis Search and others in Azure Cache for Redis Enterprise. Microsoft fully manages Azure Cache for Redis Enterprise with a 5.9 SLA. Redis Enterprise is also available on Google and AWS Marketplace with 5.9 availability as well. Some of the most prominent financial institutions fintechs, insurance companies, delivery companies, and retailers worldwide have deployed Redis Enterprise with very high levels of availability. Go ahead, Rakila, with the first poll. We want to do a short poll.
Thanks, Prasanna, for giving us the brief intro about Redis. So I am launching the first poll just to get some feedback from the audience here on your thoughts before we jump on to the enhanced cost optimization session by Prasanna.
Thank you, Rakila. So the first question that Rakila has posted here, what are your business goals for investing in digital transformation projects? And we got customer acquisition rate. That's a key one. I mean, everybody is looking to acquire new customers, and we want to make it as cost effective as possible. We want to lower the cost of acquiring new customers. Any business wants to do that. And that is so critical for maintaining profitability. We also see improving customer experience. I got a great use case story on that that's coming up in one of our customer success stories. It's about customer experience. It is about keeping customers engaged on a platform. And that's a good one. I'm not going to reveal who that is, but you're going to see it soon. And then ML capabilities. I got a use case on that too. We have a customer, a bank who's using Redis as a feature store for their ML capabilities. We got some great responses here. Thank you so much for being so engaged with these questions. How have your digital transformation plans changed? Greatly accelerated. We are planning to take it to the next level. It's so critical now. I mean, the customers that we see, they are able to reduce their cost by being able to deploy, digitize their operations more, automate their operations more, use AI ML more in their operations. All those use cases are reducing cost and helping us improve the efficiency of our businesses. So thank you for taking this poll. Let's move on to the next slide, which is our customer stories slide. So here is our first customer example. Ikata helps prevent fraud. It primarily sells its services to e-commerce, financial services, and payment companies. Ikata verifies the authenticity of businesses and people by using the identity graph built on Redis Enterprise. This verification process offered by Ikata allows retailers, banks, and other firms to automate the process of onboarding new vendors or customers, or help customers open new accounts. Ikata's goal is to reduce friction in verifying financial transactions while at the same time keeping infrastructure costs low. Ikata has made a massive database of 5 billion keys with Redis. Their previous in-memory solution was too expensive to operate for their scale. Ikata settled on Redis on Flash for their deployment on AWS. Ikata is an excellent example of how Redis helped them achieve their business goals. These two quotes from the SVP of engineering, Varun, summarizes how Redis directly addressed its business goals. Ikata has sub-100 millisecond latency requirements according to Varun Kumar. Redis on Flash reduced their RAM usage, thus saving money while meeting their strict latency requirements. So Ikata used Redis on Flash. What is Redis on Flash? Redis Enterprise allows the creation of Redis Flash databases that extend your DRAM capacity with Flash or solid state drives. Flash is, as you well know, a relatively slower storage class compared to DRAM, but it enables you to store significantly more data with fewer resources, reducing overall storage cost. As the Ikata customer story showed, you can see substantial cost saving with Redis on Flash without compromising your performance goals. Ulta Beauty is a fantastic success story. In 2021, Ulta saw its sales increase by 40% and its earnings per share or profitability increased by over 400%. Ulta Beauty is now the largest beauty retailer in the United States, carrying more than 25,000 products. Ulta Beauty first tried open source Redis, and now their e-commerce platform is powered by Redis Enterprise. Ulta uses Redis Enterprise Cloud on Google Cloud Platform Marketplace for their real-time inventory system, starting from their product details page to quote generation during the checkout process. It powers their buy online, pick up in store process. They're part of their omni-channel strategy. Ulta uses Redis Enterprise as a primary database for their functions, for other functions across their entire e-commerce platform. Before Redis Enterprise, Ulta relied on a third-party order management SaaS solution. This SaaS solution was charging them for every product inventory query. The queries to the SaaS solution resulted in being charged for every one of their operations, which negatively impacted their cost. At the scale of 3 million customers, those costs were adding up. By introducing Redis Enterprise, Ulta cut the cost of third-party SaaS system, saving them millions of dollars in operational expenses and opportunity costs thanks to improved reliability from our 5.9 SLA. Here is a quote from Omar Kunkobo, Ulta's IT director for e-commerce and digital systems. He said, "We went from a fast pilot to the old chain. And even though we had to do a lot of changes and increase capacity across different technologies, Redis was the only one we didn't have to touch because it was able to sustain the growth seamlessly. That is how reliable it is." He added that Redis Enterprise is one of the few things in the system he didn't have to worry about in their stack. We appreciate that, Omar. It is a fantastic testimonial and speaks to the power of Redis Enterprise and the partnership that we have built with Ulta Beauty. If you wish to learn more about the Ulta Beauty story, please check out Omar's interview with Yudi from our product management team, which is available on YouTube. I have the QR code available to you as well if you wish to scan it. Now, I want to bring Rahul into this conversation since he's got a lot of experience working with multiple customers. Rahul, you work with customers across various industries. What were some of the challenges they faced, and how did you help them find solutions for those challenges, please?
Hi, Prasanna. Yes, one of the most exciting part of our job is to work with customers across various industries, whether it's gaming, fintech, e-commerce, or platform like Ulta Beauty. Now, the major challenge that I have seen with customers are scaling. Majority of the customers which tends to use Redis Enterprise starts their Redis journey with Redis open source, and they graduate to Redis Enterprise when they hit the scale on Redis open source. And the reason for that is that Redis open source is a single threaded process. It will only occupy a single thread or a core in a VM and the RAM associated with the VM. To overcome these challenges, what we have introduced with Redis Enterprise is we have introduced the concept of database clustering, or sharding as we call it. We basically scale out or horizontally scale the database, dividing database into different shards. And now since our data is divided into different shards, each and every shard is actually capable of handling a single thread. So from a single threaded process, now we are using multiple shards and multiple threads for data processing. And to give our audience a context, we have done the benchmarking of 200 million operations per second with 100 million reads and 100 million writes per second with, again, sub-millisecond latency. Interestingly, we have a fintech customer which is currently doing 5 million write operations per second. Every write persisted onto the disk, both on master and replica shard, and nodes with the latency of 0.35 millisecond. And this customer is German Stock Exchange. And of course, then there is many individual instances of Redis open source, and managing those individual instances of Redis open source can be very complex. In Redis Enterprise Cloud, which is fully managed database as a service, customers don't need to manage or worry about managing those complex Redis open source instances or clusters, as we call it. in Redis open source. Everything is taken care by Redis's expert DevOps team that we have. And further, we have features like Redis or Flash, which you already talked about, and multi-tenancy, which helps our customers to optimize the cost further. So yeah, these are some of the challenges that I have seen across the industry.
It's the Rahul, amazing story, man. Amazing story. I'm so happy to hear that you bring joy to people's lives, and you're changing companies, changing their businesses, making it more efficient. That stock exchange, I believe, that story that you shared.
Yeah,
that's incredible. It's like the scale at which these companies operate, and Redis is able to support that. Thank you for sharing that, Rahul. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you. So I believe we do have another poll. Rakila, back to you, please. So what is the most difficult part of your, sorry, go ahead, please, Rakila. I apologize. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, Prasanna, I can go ahead. Yeah.
So the question here is, what is the most difficult part of your digital transformation efforts? Managing multiple data sources, we see that a lot. Maybe Rahul might have some examples of that too. So he works with a lot of cool customers. Siloed data sources, that's a big challenge, and I think I have an example of that. Even this could be even the Ulta Beauty one, which is essentially a third-party SaaS platform, could be considered a siloed data source, and dealing with that becomes a challenge. Which of the following best describes your infrastructure strategy? Single cloud. We see a lot of hybrid on-premise and cloud. And then multi-cloud too. We see a lot of multi-cloud. On-premise and cloud is very popular with Redis. Thank you for sharing those thoughts. It gives us a good flavor for who's in the audience. And let's move on to the next story. This one, the Dick's Sporting Goods struggle during the pandemic may resonate with many in our audience. Let me get this poll out of the way. Dick's Sporting Goods has over 800 stores in the US and over $12 billion in sales each year. During the pandemic, everything came to a standstill, as we all know. We all experienced that. All stores were closed and sales dropped by 30% in the first quarter of 2020. Suddenly, the IT and software teams worked from home like many of us did. Redis Enterprise now powers many aspects of its e-commerce strategy. They acted fast and quickly rolled out buy online, pick up in store service to all of their stores. Because of their quick actions, they have entirely transformed their omni-channel retail strategy, because now they are able to fulfill their orders, their online orders from their stores, and now the stores are becoming more efficient. They are able to keep up the profitability of those physical stores, which do cost a lot of money to maintain, pay the rent, pay all the employees. Now they are able to get maximum use of those stores. So because they had picked technologies such as Redis Enterprise to power their platform, they could move fast and recover the lost ground. In 2020, e-commerce sales increased by 200%. Just imagine this. They went from being fully shut down to reopening all their stores to increasing their sales, e-commerce sales, by over 200%. Just imagine the change that happened over a period of few months. In 2020, e-commerce sales increased by 200%, and the stores were used to fulfill 75% of those orders. If you wish to learn more about this use case, please view the interview of Jay Piskorek. He is the Director of Platform Engineering at Dick's Sporting Goods. This interview is available on the Redis website. See, these two quotes from Lauren Hobart, the current CEO of Dick's Sporting Goods, summarizes the benefits they gain from their technology investments. They have expanded their profit margins and attribute their e-commerce platform's success to the technology investments they continue to make. Redis is proud to be part of this success. Another way by which companies can lower their cost is by using the multi-tenant deployment feature in Redis Enterprise. Redis Enterprise offers multi-tenancy in which a single deployment of Redis Enterprise software, often deployed as a cluster of nodes, can serve many tenants. Each tenant has its own Redis database endpoint, only isolated from the other Redis databases. When you deploy Redis Enterprise in your data center or the cloud, you benefit from the scope economies of the multi-tenant architecture. Rahul gets a chance to work with a lot of customers who use many of the deployment patterns. Rahul, can you speak to the deployment patterns you are seeing within your customer base? Why do they choose some of these deployment patterns? And what are, maybe if you could speak to the technical and the business benefit?
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Prasanna, again. Sure. I was actually seeing the polls and I see, a lot of interesting answer on the polls as well when it comes to deployment patterns. So it actually matches what I'm going to say. So since majority of the companies are currently going through that digital transformation, and I've seen more traction towards cloud in Asia Pacific region. And this is what we have actually seen, Prasanna, in the polls as well. Digital transformation is ongoing or about to start in majority of the companies. And I've seen deployments like on-premises and cloud hybrid deployments, taking more and more space in this cloud deployment. In financial industry and banks, I have seen active, passive, and active deployment for 5 nines of availability. Even in gaming, one of my customer, which is the largest gaming company in South Korea, is using active for global gaming platform and their session management use case. And to answer your second part of why I see these deployment patterns and what are the business benefit and technical benefits of it, the main reason for choosing, let's say active was 5 nines of availability. Now that's the most stringent availability that you can get into the market of any database for any database. Now with multi-regional deployment, they could serve different geographies at the same time. Now with sub-millisecond local latency, which is the essence of any real-time data platform. I've also seen more adoption of hybrid workloads, which we could also see in our poll as well, with on-premises and cloud. And there is, again, I've seen this multi-cloud deployment. People are getting crazy frenzy about these multi-cloud deployments, and which is getting quite popular in Asia Pacific region, particularly. This is what I manage. And nowadays, which gives customer more flexibility, resiliency to have their databases in different cloud providers. And it is getting more and more seamless with products like Redis Enterprise.
Oh, that's amazing, man. That story that you said about that South Korean gaming company, session management, active deployment, so that their gamers get the best experience. That's such a great one. Thank you for sharing those stories, Rahul. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
and I believe we have a few more customer stories. This is yes.
Prasanna, sorry to interrupt. Before that, we have some question from Omkar. So,
please.
Which other tools or technologies can be paired best with Redis to exploit its fullest potential to cater to use cases outside caching? What are the third-party integrations that Redis supports?
Rahul, would you like to take that?
Absolutely. So we have Omkar, we have a lot of tools which support these third-party integration. We have integration with Kafka, we have integration with other. We are actually working on a product which gives you integration with RDBMS, which gives you integration with MongoDB and all other databases and data sources as well. Plus, interestingly, Redis is not just a caching solution, Omkar. So Redis is a primary database. We have modules, which gives you that flexibility to do whatever you want to do. Like you can do full text searching. You can simply store your documents inside Redis. You can create Redis, a time series database. You can even run Cypher queries in Redis, created as a graph database. You can even have Bloom filters in Redis. Interestingly, Prasanna, I was working with a customer a couple of days back, and they were using Bloom filters for filtering their marketing emails, where they were doing data deduplication. So you can imagine, Omkar, Redis has been used each and every use case that you can even imagine.
Oh, that's perfect. And is there Rahul? Is there a website we can point Omkar to for the integrations that's available?
I would definitely do that. I'll post it on the chat.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. And Rahul, you talked about Kafka. Can you also please highlight Redis streams, the data structure that we have, please?
Absolutely, I was about to comment to that as well.
Thank you.
So Redis stream basically gives you those Kafka-like messaging application where you have stream of data coming in real time, and then you have further consumer groups and consumer within those consumer groups consuming that stream of data in real time. And interestingly, we have built a solution for that was like stock ticker data, where you have stock exchange and the ticker data comes in real time, and that ticker data was actually coming on with Redis streams. Because Redis stream is so fast, you are simply processing that data inside Redis's layer in real time. And interesting, Prasanna, those customers were also using Redis time series to chart their data. And that customer is basically Grow, which is one of the largest fintech customers in India. It's a unicorn in India, and they have seen immense growth. No pun intended, but it's the most amazing customer story that I can refer to. Which using streams and time series at the same time to simply chart and project that stock ticker data in real time.
Oh, that's an amazing story, Rahul. I mean, thank you for sharing these. I think our audience will get value out of these stories and how they can imagine using Redis in their Redis enterprise in their various architectures. And start with open source, right? Open source, and then graduate as they become more comfortable. My Team 11, obviously, Rahul, it's your customer. So we're going to talk about My Team 11 now. And My Team 11 is a leading fantasy sports company in India. It has over 17 million users. And many million fantasy users, they create and edit their teams in the last 30 minutes before the start of a game. The relational database that they used before for all this process of creating and editing teams could not handle the load during these peak times. They needed a solution fast. They started with Redis open source to see if Redis would fit their needs. Once satisfied with the open source version, they switched to Redis Enterprise to get the enterprise features such as failover capabilities. Now they use Redis Enterprise as the primary database and have expanded their use case beyond managing teams to using Redis for user authentication as well. My Team 11 saw great business benefits and cost reduction by moving to Redis Enterprise Cloud on AWS. They slashed the use of the relational database and thus saved a lot of money. They were able to scale quickly to serve millions of customers. Failover on Redis Enterprise took just few seconds compared to the prolonged failover performance of open source Redis offered by some cloud vendors. I had a chance to speak with Sachin Lunia, who now leads the R&D team at My Team 11, about his use of Redis Enterprise. Please join this session on October 12th, and Rahul and I will be there to answer any further questions about My Team 11 too. Rahul, anything else you can share about this special customer that we have?
Oops, I was on mute. I think it's such a pleasure to work with My Team 11. And interestingly, Prasanna, they were also using streams at some point of time, and they are now going to explore modules in the future as well. So yeah, I just wanted to say that please be there. We are going to take all of these questions on October 12th as you speak. So yeah.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you so much. And our final customer example is a large multinational bank, a long-time Redis customer based in the US. They have trillions of dollars in assets and trillions of dollars in deposits across the globe. They are also incidentally in India. They use our multi-model capabilities across various use cases, including entitlements, P&L reporting, fraud detection, microservices, query caching, and more. By running more of its businesses on Redis Enterprise, the bank standardized the use of Redis and lowered the cost of serving their customers. They do not have to deploy another database to help another business unit or just to satisfy another use case. This bank recently started using Redis Enterprise to implement an online feature store, AIMO, which enhanced the custom machine learning algorithm to evaluate transactional risk scoring in real time. With Redis, they could access features, score, and derive inferences across millions of accounts, each holding hundreds of transactions with sub-millisecond latency at very high throughput. Speed, scale, and always-on capabilities are the three core requirements for this bank, and Redis meets these requirements. This is why they keep expanding on their use of Redis. During this session, we have learned about how Ulta Beauty drove business growth and efficiencies using Redis Enterprise. Ikata lowered the cost of doing business without compromising performance. Dick's Sporting Goods quickly transformed its entire business during the pandemic with help from Redis Enterprise. Rahul, in this presentation, we haven't had a chance to present information on the various modules. You did touch upon some of the modules when you spoke about, I believe, one of the customers. Can you please speak about the most popular Redis modules, why customer choose those? And I think you are also using the module example with HomeCar. So please, if you could, please speak about the most popular modules, and then what kind of business challenges do they solve?
Awesome, and absolutely would love to talk about module. This is my favorite subject. Module act as an extensibility over your key value store database, which is Redis. Now, these modules are specifically designed in NCC, so they are very fast. That's first thing first. And one of the most popular modules, as Prasanna, you were talking about, is Redis Search, which gives you full text searching capabilities, feature like faceted search, tags, suggestions, spell check, and much more. You can simply have weighted search as well, where you have weighted search and anything and everything that you're looking from a full text search engine. If you wanted to have a real-time full text search engine, Redis Search is your go-to module. Interestingly, one of the customers that we have in Asia Pacific is Lemonade. So Lemonade is an e-commerce platform. It is like grocery delivering e-commerce platform. So you can imagine from pin to even a satellite is there in their platform. It is SQA, it has like very large SQs. Now for their grocery performance searching or their full text searching, they are currently using Redis Search, and they were doing like 10,000 operations per second. So which means 10,000 concurrent users are searching at the same time. You can imagine how fast Redis Search is, and they have simply, increased their usage of Redis Search ever since then. They have occupied Redis Search. I think they've been using Redis Search for more than 2 years now. Then nice. we have Redis JSON. Now, Redis JSON gives you the capability to store your JSON documents inside Redis as is. Interestingly, Prasanna, I was designing the solution for one of my customer, and they were talking about a pain points in their ETL process where you extract, transform, and load. And they were transforming the data from JSON to flat files. And they were telling me, man, we get like a couple of hours just to transform our JSON to flat files. Now they don't have to do that anymore. They can simply, extract and simply load the data as is JSON inside Redis's architecture, and they can actually get best of both the worlds. They can combine Redis Search with Redis JSON to use the Redis Search capability of indexing on those JSON documents, and use those JSON documents with Redis Search to do the full text searching on those JSON documents which resides inside Redis, and they can also go to the nested level of those JSON documents. Another customer success story that I have is from New Zealand, and they are currently using Redis Search plus Redis JSON to store the products in JSON and search to do those full text searching, faceted searching on those huge range of products in real time on their website and their application. Last time that I had a word with them, they were supporting more than 50 plus e-commerce customer in New Zealand alone, and they are simply expanding their horizon with this. Similarly, I briefly talked about Grow, which we're using Redis time series. So I'll tell you guys what Redis time series is. So Redis time series gives you the capability to store key value store plus the Unix timestamp at that particular time onto the database. Now, the beauty of Redis time series is that it gives you the features like sampling, downsampling, aggregation, and all of these time series database features are available with time series module. Further on that, you can actually display these data or simply stream these data in real time with Prometheus and Grafana integration. And as I already talked about, Grow is currently using Redis time series to chart their data onto their mobile and their web application portal. Then we also have Redis Graph. You can simply convert your Redis Enterprise database into a graph database. it's a label property graph database, and you can simply, run your Cypher queries inside Redis. Now, amazingly, Prasanna, the beauty of Cypher queries and graph is a majority of the companies which are already using graph database, they are using a graph database and which runs on Cypher query. So they don't have to change any code. We already support those APIs, and they simply, bring their code base and do certain tweaks, and they can simply run those Cypher queries. So it eases their learning curve when they are accommodating Redis Enterprise or Redis Graph module in particular, which is, I think, which is one of the best and most awesome part of Redis Graph. I also talked about Redis Bloom, which gives customers Bloom filter capabilities inside Redis as well. So customer can simply run those Bloom filters capabilities, like a Bloom filter, whether this exists or not. There's a query called BF exists or not. They can simply run it. And I was giving an example, like a couple of days back, I was working with one of the marketing agencies, and their main challenge is that the customers or their end users were getting duplicate emails. They didn't know whether they have sent those emails or not. It was a nascent startup. And for them, it was like 4 lines of code, which solves their problem with Bloom filters, and all of these things in real time in the database itself. So yeah, Prasanna, these are some of the modules or some of the most popular modules that we have. And again, one thing I just like to highlight to all of our attendees is that all of these modules are combined or bundled with Redis Enterprise as is. You don't have to pay anything extra, or you don't have to load these modules. I've seen our customer with open source loading modules in Redis, loading those so files, and when they reboot the servers, everything is gone, because again, these modules are volatile. So Redis has persistent to all of these modules, and you can scale these modules as well. They are scalable. You can add more compute, you can add more horsepower whenever you want in order to use these modules. And these are some of the core features that we have, and this is the essence of a real-time database.
Oh, nice. Amazing stories, man. Your enthusiasm is truly infectious, and your passion for Redis and for the technology. Well, if more of us have that passion, I think we will do much better in life. So thank you so much for sharing those stories, Rahul. And let me pause here. Rakila, are there any questions?
Nothing at this moment, Prasanna.
Okay. So we have, a team. Please, attendees, please make use of all these resources. You saw what Rahul brings to the table. Please reach out to us. We have very talented people like Rahul who can help you architect great solutions and understand your business challenges, and solve some of your business challenges, help you grow faster. And if you go ahead, please.
Prasanna, I see Rakesh Balakrishnan raise his hand. I'm going to allow him to talk.
Okay. Rakesh,
Hey, Rakesh,
please unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Great. See, I'm Rakesh Balakrishnan, heading IT for a company called Susganier Group. Actually, we are a pharma company.
Okay.
So I'd like to hear that if we have done any kind of this cost savings or any this kind of measures in any of the pharma or any manufacturing sites. Predominantly what you have said is most on the e-chain and those kind of companies. So that's what I was.
I need to look up specific pharma companies. I need to look it up, but we work with obviously all kinds of industries. And one thing that comes to my mind is we have worked with like process manufacturing industries, and where we have helped them improve their manufacturing line. And really, that is a totally different use case from many of the use cases that you will hear in presentations like this. So we have done that. They had a challenge of switching between products in their process manufacturing. They were manufacturing food products. So they had to switch quickly depending on the orders that come in, and their manufacturing execution system could not keep up with it. And so they used Redis to offload all the information onto Redis and then run their manufacturing line from Redis. So that's a story that comes to my mind. It may not be quite related to your pharmaceutical business, but we would love to hear some of your use cases, and then we could maybe help you architect something.
Absolutely. Just to add on to that, Prasanna, actually, I have worked with one of the pharma companies, Rakesh.
Great.
And the beauty of Redis Enterprises, we are HIPAA compliant. So you don't have to worry about those compliancy of else anymore. Now,
good.
when you talk about cost saving, Rakesh, it purely, as Prasanna said, it purely depends on your use case and how you guys are currently using Redis open source or any Redis open source managed offering. So yeah, we would love to talk about your use case, and I would personally like to take that opportunity to talk to you, Rakesh, about how you guys are currently leveraging your current infrastructure, and then we can take it forward from there.
Right. Okay, then we'll connect offline actually. Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rakesh. Thank you so much for your question. Any other questions, Rakila?
Yep, I see something on the Q&A session from
Okay.
Mahadevan. Do Redis have a strong customer base in manufacturing and automotive sectors in India?
Rahul, do you know any information on this question? Please?
I have actually, Mahadevan. Actually, I have worked with one of the largest automotive industry. We are currently in talks. They are not customers anymore. We are currently in talks. They are still prospects. But I've seen a traction, coming towards those what we call as autonomous vehicles, those IoT devices, and I've seen it a lot. One of the largest two-wheeler manufacturer, they approached us and they wanted to store their data in time series. Then again, one of the largest manufacturers, this manufacturer was basically out of South Korea. They were working on their autonomous vehicle. We are still in talks with them. We are still working together, sort things out, but they are working with those autonomous vehicles, and they wanted to store their data in Redis as a mothership. So Redis collects the data from IoT sensors and different devices in real time, and they are using Redis time series to display their data. Now the data varies, like it could be temperature, it could be percentage of battery, it could be anything. Plus, interestingly, I was working with one of the customers who were interested in something called as Redis Edge, which we used to have a long time back, and which simply gives you the capability to have those IoT sensors and Redis on those IoT devices as well. So yes, we do have a lot of traction on that. But again, for the exact customer name, we have to get back to you.
I mean, to add on to what Rahul said, I think we have customers in almost every industry. Yes. And like Rahul pointed out, such a diverse set of use cases, and it's all true. It's there are so many use cases. He's talking about customers who are prospects right now, and they might become customers. But we have seen a wide range of use cases, wide range of industries. You name it, from Rahul pointed out, to grocery stores, to stock exchanges, to payment companies, to anything in between. They all want that performance. They want that scale. So we're grateful for that question. Please reach out to us, or if you let us know, then we will have our team reach out to you, and then we could surely help you. So we are here to help. So thank you for that. Any other questions, Keela?
Yeah, I'm just seeing. Yeah, no other questions at this point of time. Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to do a poll?
Yeah, so this is like, yeah, like Prasanna, do you have anything that you want to cover before
Sure.
I
Sure. One thing, Rakila, you and I have talked about before, and we could always get Rahul's thoughts on this. Rahul, love for you to touch upon the vector similarity search feature. Can you, if you don't mind, can you briefly touch upon that? And I can then talk about some of the use cases that comes to my mind from a vector similarity search. But please give your perspective on that, please.
Awesome. Actually, Prasanna, I was working with the largest Japanese firm of vector search similarity feature. It's an amazing feature. It is part of Redis search or Redis stack. Now we used to call it that stack. So vector search similarity features gives you the feature like to simply have two products. I'll just give a very simple example of that. It's like facial recognition. So if you have the data of different faces, store it inside Redis. And once you scan your face, that data is going to get and checked between those millions of faces which are already stored, whether this guy is authenticated or not to enter a premises or not. And this use case was for, I cannot name it, but it's for a chain which sells certain food items. And if you are a customer of that chain, you simply need to stand in front of their door. It will recognize, it will also give you your name, it will give you your membership ID, and it will give you your, let's say, your coffee type, which is the coffee type you usually take. You don't have to do anything. You don't even have to order your coffee if you're simply using that particular coffee. Enter that. It is all automated. The doors will open automatically. You will go there. They will already know, Mr. Prasanna, you are here, and this is your large latte, and you're good. So this is how awesome vector search similarity is. This is one of the smaller use cases that I was working on, and I was just pointing out that how you could use vector search similarity in those forms.
It's an amazing feature. When that first came out, I was like, wow, this is so powerful. Some of the other use cases that Rakila and I have talked about before is matching makeup color. One of the challenges many people face, many ladies face when they go choose makeup, is they want to switch brands, but they want to be able to get the same shade of lipstick or makeup. And how do you match the color? Now that's very similar to facial recognition. Now you're recognizing colors using vector similarity search. And same thing applies for painting, wall paint, anything that you wish to paint. You see a color and you want to match a similar color in the store for ordering paint. Now vector similarity search can help you with that as well. So there is, and the other use case that came across with vector similarity is eyeglass frames. If you want to search for eyeglasses on an e-commerce website, it becomes very difficult to describe eyeglasses. You can say oval, you can maybe search with the brand name, but it becomes very difficult if you can just provide a picture of the eyeglass and then search through, like Rahul pointed out, millions of frames in this case, and quickly find out which are the closest frames to the shape that I am wearing right now. That's a powerful feature. So the vector similarity search solves all those type of challenges. It also works with, I believe, Rahul, it works with text too, correct? For searching across similar written text.
It does. It does work with text. It does work with the vectors. Vectors are basically data points in an image. So interestingly, Prasanna, one of the use cases that I was actually not yet, we were able to accomplish it, but we are still in talks, is this similar to like eyeglasses. So you have the app on your phone and you simply click a product. It could be a simple shirt that will search the web, and you will get the lowest amount of that shirt from the web. So yeah, this is what we are also working on with it.
And super fast, right? Super fast.
Absolutely.
Like milliseconds. And that is the customer experience. I mean, this is what my team 11, your customer, talked about too, and they are going to talk about it in that webinar. It's amazing. It's the speed at which Redis operates. It is just custom built for the era in which we are living through right now. Just custom built database. So please reach out to us. Please connect with us, Rahul and myself. And as you saw, Rahul's enthusiasm, he's there to help you, and we are here to help you. So please reach out to us and get the most out of us. So, Rakila, back to you.
Great. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks everyone for joining the session today. We had like some great questions, and also like I have like a last poll to just get the feedback of like the session. While you guys are answering this poll, I will also paste in Prasanna and Rahul's LinkedIn profiles. You can chat with them, understand more about Redis. Post this event, we'll also share the recording and the assets that we had shared in the chat as well. If you guys want to hear any specific use cases, please type in the chat or the Q&A window. We will be able to help you. And thanks everyone for joining the session.
We, thank you, Rakila, and thank you, Rahul. We are constantly working on bringing you the latest knowledge, the latest customer use cases, so that you can take that knowledge, accelerate your learning, and then deliver value to not only yourself and to your company. So it's about we constantly learning and then bringing that knowledge to you. As you saw, Rahul provided some great examples throughout this session. And I hope you got value from some of the use cases and customer names that we shared with you. We are grateful. Thank you so much for taking the time. And I see that we have had a very positive response to this session. We are grateful for that. We are humbled by that. We are pleased. And thank you for your trust that you have placed in us. And Rakila, any last words? Rahul, any last words before we close this up?
I see like anonymous attendee asked if there's any use cases for location tracking. So
Oh,
that's
yes.
one thing.
Yeah, Rahul, go ahead, please.
Awesome. So yes,
That's
that's an amazing question. So we do have a customer, one of the largest mobility customer in South Korea. I've worked with them very closely, and they are our customers. So yes, we do have geospatial data structures, which helps you in locating customer location or any location as a matter of fact. And we have a spatial query called as georadius and geodistance, which will simply give you the distance between those two longitude and latitude location. It could be between a user's mobile phone or a warehouse, or it could be from a moving car or a cab or anything at all. Yes, we do give you that. It's one of the flagship features that we have, which is the geospatial data structures.
And to add on to what Rahul said, many retailers use the geo-search feature that Rahul is referring to do localized search of inventory. For example, you want to know, you're searching for a product on an e-commerce website, but it's also available in some store close by to your home, and you want to know which store has got it and how far it is. Geo-search feature solves that for our retailers, and they use it for that. So I mean, there's so many features and so little time, and we could keep going. Anything else, Rahul, you wish to add? Any last thoughts, sir?
I think I'm good at this point, but I think thanks a lot, Prasanna. It was a really nice session, and I see a lot of customer interaction in this. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so
Prasanna,
much.
for it.
Akila, anything?
Yes. So the only thing is, I know there are a lot of questions on different kinds of use cases, and if you guys are interested for any enablement sessions for your extended teams as well, please reach out to us. I have dropped my email ID. You have Prasanna's, Rahul's email IDs and their LinkedIn profiles as well. So we'll be happy to host it privately, like for your organization, and see like what best use cases that you need, and we can help you from there and take it from there. Yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you so much, team. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thanks a lot.